It almost happened again, Chad. It almost happened again. I almost forgot to hit go live. Let me turn the music down over there. I just checked, and it was not live. I did not hit the live button. I thought I had hit the live 2 minutes ago, but no, I did not hit the live. I only hit the start streaming button. I hate how OBS does this. You have to click the start streaming button first, and then you select the stream that you want to stream to, and then the streaming starts, and then you gotta hit the go live button. But I guess that's like the safety feature of you not going live right away by mistake, and you have like a little bit of a yes and a confirm button after, which I get it, but damn it, I almost mess up over there on going live. Put a checklist on your desk. I know, like, come on. How long have I been in the streaming business now? I should know this by now, but I just think that sometimes hitting that start stream button is actually the start streaming button. So I get ready. I'm sitting there listening to the music, listening to the 2 minutes of good music along with you guys, and I start talking, and I look over, and I see I'm not actually live. Pride. That would have gone bad. But thankfully this time we caught ourselves instead of like what has usually happened before, which is streaming for 20 minutes and then knowing that I'm not live at all. So that's a little bit of an improvement, right, Dieter? We're changing, right? We're not making the same mistakes. We're making new mistakes, and that is the name of trading right there. You're gonna make mistakes, but make new mistakes. Don't repeat the same mistakes. And improving not only in trading but also improving in every other way in life, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone doing? Welcome back to this another episode of new mistakes. Exactly. Welcome back to a new episode of After the After Hours with your homie TraderPrad. We're gonna look at all things stock market, see how the markets moved around today. I mean, obviously I participated in this so-called market, and I got to see exactly how it moved around, and it was pretty tragically to the downside. Pretty big move overall in the market today. I mean, we almost went back into last week's lows. Actually, we went right back into last week's lows, and kind of tickled those areas a little bit, and then made a nice little reversal going into the close today. That was a good little bounce onto the close, but tomorrow brings in a lot of question mark too. What directions are the markets going to head into? Are we going to see some sort of a crazy move with Papa Powell on the microphone at 10 a.m.? We also got a bunch of other market economic data coming out around throughout the day, actually. So lots of things that could actually help facilitate this downside move that kind of got started today, or maybe a good little reversal depending on what happens tomorrow. So we'll talk about all things in that realm. Also, in the earnings board's still pretty hot. We saw Target today going into $170. I mean, that's insane. We kind of had that line drawn at 170. If I remember correctly, Target's options AI number was a little bit lower than 170. I think they were talking about 160. It was my line, which was at 169, and guess what number came to true? I don't have emotes on this page. Maybe I can hit the emo when we go over to the next page. Is the Praddy Daddy level, the Prastradamus level, that 170 area actually came into play, and the stock was not able to go another dollar above that. It was just hanging out by 170 as far as I remember. At least it kind of failed off that 170, maybe came back to 170 in the close, but not sure if it actually took it out. I don't think it did. But Target, beautiful move on a good little earnings report, recovering itself a little bit. GitLab, I mean, we kind of saw that move in the after hours yesterday on GitLab. Today off the open, actually, whoa, what the hell? Today off the open, actually, we saw a nice little move to the north side on GitLab, but still down at the end of the day, moving actually well below VWAP too, so that one sold off quite a bit. So we'll talk about more of those stocks that recently reported earnings, and more importantly, stocks that actually reported earnings today after hours, such as CrowdStrike. Monster move on CrowdStrike, take it into a new all-time high territory. Also obviously putting that stock into our watch list at the higher priority, along with JWN BOX, which got announced as a add to the S&P 400, if I remember accurately. It's getting added to the S&P 400, and also had its earnings report today after hours, or tomorrow pre-market. No, I think it's actually today after hours, and if it did, we'll take a look at that stock a little bit more, and along with a bunch of other stocks that are already reported. That's going to be on the watch list, but the nice and short little watch list. I almost forgot about the cryptocurrency market. I mean, what an insane move on Bitcoin. Bitcoin going into a new all-time high by just $200. Are you kidding me? Just by $200, and we flushed right back to 60K. So Bitcoin having a little bit of a trouble over there. But we still got back above 63K though in the after session over here. So not sure if Bitcoin game is over or if the game is just getting started. Is Bitcoin at least made new mistakes, right? Bitcoin made some new mistakes, which is it went up to a new high and then got flushed to the downside, sadly. So waiting to see what happens over there on Bitcoin overall. Still waiting for my 69,420 area to come in, and we only hit 69,210-ish or so, which is like, come on, I was so close to taking out 1/4 of my size out on that 69,420 area. But I guess I'm once again a bag holder. Doge to the moon, baby, to the moon. But let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. After the watch list, we have a little bit of a SMB Capital video to set up. I have a SMB Capital video set up for us to watch too. It's going to be this one right here, technical analysis based video. It's a 30-minute long video. For those of you who want to hang out and have some fun with that one, we can watch that one. But starting off with our watch list on the day. So let me bring in my beautiful little Notion. Shout out to Notion, not sponsored at all, but one of the best note-taking tools out there in my opinion. I use this tool to put my watch list through it every single day, as you guys see me use it. I also use it for journaling my trades. I use it for even like taking notes on what books to read and so on. So I kind of track everything in my life basically at this point through Notion. So you might want to check out this app if you haven't already. A couple other things that you could use are alternatives would be Evernote. Evernote's a pretty decent one, but I'm pretty sure Evernote has a little bit of a limit on the monthly usage that you can put through in terms of storage or cloud storage. So that stock, or not stock, that Evernote, in my opinion, is a little bit inferior compared to Notion. And I see the Weewoo going up. What's going on over here? Sup, golden glasses? You dressed for Bitcoin today? You see my hat? Come on, son. Come on, son. Let's see if I can change my colors to something Bitcoinish. Nah. Whoa, that one's bright, dude. I'm gonna go blind looking at that. You know what? We're just gonna go back to default. Go back to full screen. But hell yeah, I'm dressed for Bitcoin. You see that to the moon sign over there? Nowhere but to the stars, baby. Because the moon is just a destination to just drop off, and then we're gonna launch off the moon to another planet, because moon's just not even the final destination for Bitcoin, okay? And not even the final destination for Dogecoin. We're not there yet. We're just getting started. This is me smoking hopium right now, to be honest. This is me smoking hopium and praying that today's move was not the top. Today's move was not the top. But coming back to the stocks over here on the watch list today, thank you for the $2 super chat, Ani. Coming back to the watch list for today, or tomorrow I should say, CrowdStrike, ChargePoint, JWN, Box, Target, GitLab, SE, not sure if it's that important, but we'll take a look at it along with a bunch of other stocks over here. We'll see if these 5 stocks actually have any levels that are worth taking a look at. If not, most likely just going to quickly glance through them, because the more important stocks right now are going to be your cryptocurrency baskets. I mean, Coinbase made a pretty good move into 240 and then rejected right around 240 when Bitcoin rejected at the new all-time high. So I'm thinking it was 240 if I remember accurately. And if you guys pulled into my show yesterday, you saw that the 240 level was something that I was watching out for. I said watch out for that 240, could give you a good long through that or a beautiful short around that, and it did end up setting up that way. BITO, that's the Bitcoin ETF. You also have the semiconductors still moving around, Nvidia, AMD, Micron almost at that all-time high again, SMC high. I mean, do I even have to tell you again, getting added to the S&P 500 index? So you're watching SMCI over there for that craziness over there happening on those AI slash chip sectors, along with Bitcoin sector, which can also facilitate chip sector, which is why this chip sector is absolutely like bonkers at the moment. You got the AI hype first, and now Bitcoin's taken off, and Bitcoin's mined through graphics cards and chips are used for AI, and everything is just chippies. You guys ever seen that guy with the cooking show? Chippies. That's how I feel trading chips every single day. I'm just going crazy at this point, and you know, chips are just the name of the game, along with crypto, along with AI, obviously. But at the same time, you do have some of the large cap stocks over here, which are your Apple, Amazon, Google, the Magnificent Seven, as they like to call them, and the last three, which are the large cap ETFs, the QQQs, the IWMs, and the SPYs. Well, not large cap as the IWM, because IWM is a small cap 2000. What's going on? Did that one stock that was crazy mooning ever come back? I forget the ticker. SMCI. Yes, it did come back. It did come back, and it came back tenfold. It came back in blood. It came back in blood. So that was a drop that I think you were talking about, and it came back in blood for sure. Bitch, get it back in blood. Brr, brr. The spraying, the guns are just spraying over here for the bulls. The bulls are just laying out the bears. But this little catalyst over here is a special catalyst because the stock is getting added to the S&P 500 index. Where did my volume candle go? Hello? Where's my volume candles? What the hell? Is this even volume? What is this? What even the hell is this? I'm gonna have to reload this page because this page is tripping balls. There we go. I was like, what am I looking at here? Where did my volume go? Where did all my shit go? Oh, that's right, I hit it. That's a stupid moment right there, man. I blinded everything and I was wondering where everything went. Okay, a little bit of a blonde moment. Shout out to Prad. Shout out to Prad. Let's get back to the market. This guy is a pumpkin. Thank you, sir. You should hit that subscribe, and thank you for hitting that like too. But let's take a look at all the stocks on the watch list, starting with the earnings movers such as CrowdStrike, CRWD. CrowdStrike moving around today. Where are you? Let's take a look at the earnings board first, or the earnings report, sorry. CRWD. Here's the earnings move. I mean, that's a monster move. We were at $300 going into $380 on the earnings report itself. Looks like a monster beat on the earnings report. Let's take a look at it. 15% EPS beat, barely a beat on revenue. So what really happened on the earnings over here? Let's go take a look from Benzinga. So shout out to Benzinga over there. Gonna be on their show very soon. If you guys are interested in that, I'll keep you guys posted up to date whenever that starts. But Benzinga over here, if you want to check out their software, amazing software for news, for scanning, for charting. They actually use, I believe, TradingView charts on there, if I remember accurately. So you know, you can use a bunch of tools on there. You can actually solve a bunch of your needs just by getting Benzinga, and you can do so by clicking on the link in the description below. So go check out Benzinga over there through the link. But Benzinga is what we're going to use right now to find out the earnings reports for today. CrowdStrike has reported a 33% increase year over year, which beat the consensus estimates. We already saw that part. The cybersecurity company reported quarterly earnings of 95 cents per share, would beat analyst estimates of 82 cents per share. Okay, has exceeded analyst estimates on both top and bottom line in every quarter since the company went public in 2019. That's huge. Annual recurring revenue increased 34% year over year. I actually can't get over that sentence that I just read. That's insane. That's pretty insane. Annual recurring revenue increased 34% year over year to 33.44 billion after the company added 281 million of net. What the hell is CrowdStrike like same as Cloudflare? No, I think that's net, right? Cloudflare is net. Yeah, that's net. Annual revenue increase, we already read that part. The company added new AR fourth quarter. The net cash generated from the operations was 247 million, generated 283 million in free cash flow during the quarter. The company ended the quarter in 3.47 billion dollars in cash. Like crazy. $3.47 billion in a quarter. Company favors our single platform approach, standardizing on CrowdStrike for cloud security, identity protection, and log scaled next gen SIEM solutions, together representing more than 850 million of ending ARR, said George, or the CEO. CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity consolidator of choice, innovator of choice, and platform of choice to stop breaches. Outlook, CrowdStrike sees this is the important part, first quarter revenue to be in the range of 902.2 million to 905 versus the estimates of big beat. Pretty big beat over there. I guess, you know, almost a 5 million beat on the estimates total. The company expects fiscal year revenue to be between 3.925 to 3.989 versus estimates. Okay, that's also a big beat, and that's why you see the company make the move that it made, baby. The moves like Jagger coming in for the stock to the upside. Big pops. CrowdStrike anticipates first quarter adjusted earnings to come in of 89 to 90 versus estimates of 82, so above that, estimates above over there too. And for the full year, 3.7 to 3.97 versus 3.75. Jeez. So also everything is just bangers. I would love to see what they talked about in the conference call. Might have to do that part on my own, but the conference call possibly outlined more fun stuff on the stock. So this is looking like the number one play tomorrow. Let's bring in our watch list on the watch list screen, and first things we're gonna do is highlight the stock as number one priority. So highlight CrowdStrike as number one priority. Now we go back to the charting screen and delete some of our old lines. Basically don't need any of this. We do have a previous earnings VWAP, so we're gonna leave that one. If I delete everything, it kind of deletes that one too, so I don't want that one going. We'll delete all of these bad boys, and I should not have any more lines. Awesome. So move that one over to today. Move that one over to today's low. Move that one over to today's high. Move this guy over to there. And then we'll just turn this one off for now. Okay, so I mean, this stock is around $380. We're basically near you know, clear blue sky area. No real price discovery. Everything is new for the stock at this point. So if it does pull back to 338, which I'm telling you, it's just not going to do that, right? Sometimes I hate predicting things, but I will actually predict this for you. 338 is not coming into play tomorrow, period. Good luck. It's just, even if the market crashes down 2%, you're not watching the stock go back to 338. Simply not. Never happening. And I will put money on that. Any money on that is not going to 338 tomorrow. Maybe I should calm down on this part. No, I think 350 holds up tomorrow. I'm actually setting an alert off at 350 or off the anchored VWAP over here once per bar. Get me alerted, show me if that goes back down there. We have some buying off that area, and CrowdStrike is a very high priority tomorrow. I'm just gonna mark off some of these areas over here in the after hours that we kind of rejected off of and then broke through. So that little rejection high over there would actually turn into a beautiful support in the after hour. However, low volume in that period, so you know, respecting that as a pure support will be a little crazy. I'm looking for something like this in the pre-market. We go down over here and then we kind of use these areas as supports and break through this high over here. I mean, could see the stock make a bigger rally tomorrow, or kind of just settle off in this area and just range trade in this area, which should still give you plenty of opportunities to make money, because the stock has a $13.35 ATR. So you should not be complaining that, oh, the stock didn't really go to 400, I didn't really find an opportunity to make money, because trust me, with the $13 ATR, with the elevated R vol that the stock is going to bring in, normally it only brings in about 4 million shares on a 30-day average. I'm expecting the stock to bring in easily 20 million shares tomorrow, especially with the type of earnings report it brought in today, you know, look for that big volume candles off the open. Look for those supports to come in, especially off those good levels such as the previous not previous the earnings anchor VWAP right off this 350 areas where it's at right now. So I'm gonna put it into my notes, 350 as my first support. It should not get below 350, but if it does get under 350, then I'll kind of watch what happens in at that 338 area, because that is the previous all-time high. It should not come into play, and I'll be very pissed off if it does, because I kind of, you know, promised you guys that it won't. But that's the problem with predicting, and that's what I was trying to kind of get into over here. You know, I was trying to secretly get into that little note over there for you know, Oso, that if you predict, that's what happens. All jokes aside, me and Oso just having fun over there. CrowdStrike though, yeah, I think 350 we get that anchored VWAP support coming in. I'm looking for that alerts to trigger and my beeps to go ding 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 ding, my little alert systems to start beeping off all over the spot. That way I can start getting into a trade over here. Wayne Wang, I predict 330. Well, I predict you, because I don't want this to go to the downside. I predict it doesn't go to 338, but that's the problem with prediction. You just can't predict. Calling it now, says Wayne Wang. We're going to 420.69 tomorrow. Bears versus Bulls, not Bears versus Bulls. Blind Jedi, sorry. Can you ban this guy? Ban this guy over here, dude. Ban this guy, dude. Get this guy out of this chat. No, I'm joking. Don't do it. We love Wayne Wang. We love Wayne Wang. I've never seen the stock before. I got no idea. Futures for life. Yeah, I know. We're just playing. But 350 tomorrow, I'm expecting that to hold. If it doesn't hold 350, then it's almost like this report was absolutely useless. But I'm telling you right now, from what we just read live in front of you guys, that report was an absolute banger report. So expecting the stock to not hold 350 would be like, holy smokes, what's actually going on? Is the market really that weak? And we're not going to have any support on a banger report that we just noticed. I think that was probably the best report I've read all of this earnings season, period. This whole earnings season, I haven't seen that good, that great of an earnings report. So I'm very interested to see what happens on CrowdStrike. In terms of resistances, I mean, the stock doesn't really have a real resistance at the moment. You could even see the stock above 380 tomorrow off the open, at which point, you know, me putting the resistance around 378.50 right now doesn't even matter, because we might have to use 378.50 as support instead of resistance. So the pre-market levels matter a little bit. So we'll wait and see what happens over there in pre-market in terms of resistances and inflection. But for support, I mean, I'm very certain that wherever the earnings VWAP is tomorrow on this stock, it's going to find some support off of that, and it's going to have some opportunities to get some quick long opportunities. If you're not quick enough for that, sadly, you might miss out on that move over there off that alert that we just put in. Charge point, you're $1, so probably no trade for me on charge point over there. We're just gonna leave charge point alone in the dirt and move on to the next stock, which is JWN Nordstrom. It's been a long time since I've seen you move, my friend. We have had a pretty good relationship. I used to actually kill it on Nordstrom all the time whenever they had an earnings report, and sadly, that's the only time I trade them. I don't look at the stock any time after that, and then completely just stop trading JWN. I guess it's for a reason. There's no real big volume for this stock. It's a little bit of a slow moving stock too, so it's not really too much of a fun trader for a day trader like me. You might want to go with like those fun movers like Tesla, Nvidia sometimes. So JWN kind of a turn off unless on earnings day. So tonight, earnings report, JWN reported about a 9% beat on EPS and a 1% beat on revenue. Let's go see if the stock popped up or dropped down, and if it did, how bad was the report? Ooh, the report looked pretty bad, I guess. The guidance most likely to the downside. JWN pushing back lower over here. Would be interesting to see how JWN reacts, especially off the earnings move over here, along with the market move to the downside today. Does that help this downside move on the earnings report kind of get extended a little bit more and just flush? Looks like we kind of got under that little diagonal line that we just threw into the chart. Let's go to 60-minute chart too. Go turn off the regular trading hours and see if any levels kind of stand out. Any good horizontal levels just stand out to us. I mean, that looks like a clean little area to reject off of if we pop back. I think we are below that. I think we are below that, so that would be a good little area to possibly reject off of if we push into there. Here's a good little area around $19 or so. Looks like could come into play. What is that right there? 1950-ish. A little bit of a hold on 20th of February around 1950, and then we kind of rallied to the north side. Not sure if that buyer over there is still important or not, but it could be something to keep an eye out for. It's right between 19 and $20, so somewhere in the halfway range between $19 and $20, right between 1950. Let's go turn back on the extended trading hours. There you go. You can see how the stock is right under 19 at the moment. I think if the earnings anchor VWAP's already down here, there could be a bigger move to the downside. So I'm thinking the report's actually not that great at the moment. Even though they did beat on EPS and revenue, they might have guided lower. So let's go find out what happened with the stock. And right off the bat, Benzinga's got my back covered. Nordstrom stock falls after Q4 results weak guidance. So sadly, guidance was lower. Nordstrom reported total sales increased 2.2%. Okay, merchandise value increased 2%, banner net sales decreased 3%, GMV, gross merchandise value, decreased 3% year over year. But how'd you increase 2% and how'd you increase 2.5% then? However, Nordstrom Rack increased 14.6% in net sales. Okay, we delivered on our 2023 guidance and are confident in our expectations for the continued sale improvement and sustainability in 2024. We are laser focused on our efforts, and we'll know. Okay, where's the outlook, dude? All I care is about the outlook. Outlook sees full year earnings in the range of $1.65 to $2 per share versus estimates of 2.5. So pretty much look in they're saying 1.65 to the higher end of 2.05, which is the estimate 2.05. So missing the estimates over there overall, including where's the other one? Where's the other part for the revenue part? Versus its 53-week fiscal year of 2023. Okay, they don't want to quote their revenue. Expects a revenue range including retail and credit sales revenue of 2% decline to 1% growth versus its 53-week fiscal year 2023 revenue. So they're expecting decline. Not looking good over there. And eventually, as when the report did drop over here, you can see how they dropped about 10% to the downside. And based on this move that we are seeing right now, I think this move is not done yet. The stock could easily go a little bit more if it wants to. The stock has an ATR of about 76 cents, sadly, but tomorrow you might see maybe a little bit of a $2 range for it to play out in. We could see the stock going down to $18 or even $17. Right now, the previous earnings anchor VWAP is right at $17.72, just say $18. So I'm looking to see if support comes into 18 and the stock kind of ranges between 18 to 19, or does it range between 18 to 20, give you that $2 area to play with and some opportunity and some extra volume. But without volume, JWN just is not really that exciting for us for tomorrow. I think we're gonna have some more fun with that. Some of the stocks that reported earnings already, such as Target and GitLab and so on. However, GitLab, if I remember accurately, right after the earnings report move happens, it kind of dies down on volume drastically. So hopefully that doesn't really happen. But we still got Target. I got other stocks like Box to still take a look at. So let's move on to that one next. Coming up with earnings next. For the next rest of this week, we still got JD, Costco, Foot Locker. So still a lot of big companies coming out with reports for us to trade with. So don't be worried about FOMOing into some of these trades over here, right? You got more opportunities coming always. That's the beauty of earnings season. We got 4 times a year, baby. 4 times a year. Next stock over here is Box. Box recently got announced that it's going to be added to the S&P 400, if I remember correctly. That was on the same day that S&P 500 was. Well, what the hell is that? Oh, Looking to short anywhere from $28 to $27. I remember this when I made this call out. This was on the last time the stock reported earnings. Bradley Cooper was my username back then. And I think the picture was me with the face swap of Bradley Cooper from Hangover. Looking to short anywhere from 28 to 27.50 with targets under 26, and that's exactly how it played out. It kind of went down there, so I marked this just so I remember this part. But anyways, ignoring that, coming back to how the stock traded today, we had that monster move right back into the gap high off that, adding to the S&P 500 index. Today we had the earnings report coming out with a 9% beat on EPS and a barely slightly missing on revenue. Obviously the guidance is a very important thing over here, so let's go take a look at the guidance on Benzinga. What did the guidance looks like? So reading the title, box Q4 revenue, Q4 earnings, revenue miss, EPS beat, expanded AI partnership with Microsoft. Ooh, okay. What does Box even do? I thought this was Dropbox. I always get confused between DBX, which is actually Dropbox, and Box, which is not actually Dropbox. What does Box even do? Box shares are trading higher in Tuesday after hours. Okay, I kind of didn't want to see that. I wanted to reveal that for myself after reading the report, so I guess thank you for ruining that for me. Q4 revenue coming in 262.88 versus estimates of 262.97, a slight miss. EPS 42 cents versus 38, a good little beat. Total revenues were up 2% on year-over-year basis. Billings were up 6% in the fourth quarter, coming in at 379.3 million. The remaining performance obligations totaled at 1.305 billion as of June 31st. Net cash provided by operating activities was 89.3 million in the fourth quarter. Free cash flow came in at 81.8 million, up 10% year over year. Good stuff. With advancements in AI, companies are accelerating their adoption to the cloud and they're cloud-based, okay, and transforming how they work with their content. Box is the center of some of the most important trends in technology history as companies look to digitize and automate and automate their business, accelerate innovation with the power of AI and protect their most important data. You know what's gonna happen with data anyways? Facebook's gonna steal it and sell it to Cambridge Analytics, baby. Outlook, Box sees first quarter revenue in the range of 261 million to 263 million versus estimates of 260 million dollars. The company expects fiscal year 2025 revenue to be between 1.08 to 1.085 versus 1.88. That's a little bit of a miss over there. The Box anticipates first quarter adjusted earnings of 35 cents to 36 cents per share versus, okay, that's a little bit of a miss over there too. But they went up? Okay, we'll find out. An AI partnership in separate press release. Box announced an expanded partnership with Microsoft Corporation, which appears to be the main reason why the shares are trading. There you go. There you go. Box said its new integration with Microsoft Azure OpenAI services will bring its advanced large language models to Box AI, enabling Box customers to benefit from the most advanced AI models in the world. Box AI will be generally available to customers on Enterprise Plus plans starting Tuesday. Our collaboration with Microsoft spans well over a decade and has spurred innovations throughout previous technology shifts, including cloud and mobile computing. Now in a new era of AI, we are expanding our collaboration again to bring AI enterprises without compromising data security, privacy, compliances, and governance. So it looks like they went about 6.9% off of this whole BS of a report. The guidance was a miss. That is not a big guidance over there. The outlook was a little bit of a miss, but the report did bounce the stock to the north side, however, and a monster move, it looks like, off the earnings report, mainly because of that partnership with Microsoft. So Microsoft partnership coming in as a rescue for this position. This month is March 24th. Box getting rescued from that Microsoft catalyst, pulling right back into what was Friday's range over here and finding support within Friday's range. Looks like, if I remember accurately, I actually tried to look for a long on Box and then I lost, or did I go short on Box and I won? I can't remember what I did on Friday. Jeez, how do I not remember? I guess it's been a little while since on Friday, okay? What I did, I don't remember today what I did. I didn't even trade Box today, however. But Box made a monster move to the north side first, pulled right back, and then found some support off of what looks to be today's anchor VWAP right over here into the after hours. Will be pretty interesting to see what happens. Looks like we have a clear seller showing up because the report was not that bullish. I think there could be a little bit of a nothing burger move here. Now, keep in mind that the stock is also getting added to the S&P 400 index, so that could help facilitate some of the buying to the north side, along with the earnings report, which was not really that bearish, but they also didn't really guide to the upside like a banger report like CrowdStrike did. So maybe our judgment a little bit is clouded because how amazing of a report we saw CrowdStrike come out with. But over here, I'm not really seeing too much more upside than what we already see in the after hours today on BOX, which is right around $32. So I'm putting my resistance down at 32 for BOX. I'm gonna put in the stock around I'll mark it as an orange for now, which is a high important priority for me, and we'll see what happens. Just curious how good earnings would react to the market being crazy. Yeah, I mean, earnings sometimes don't really care about the market. They just do whatever they want. But obviously, if they are a big component of the market, they do maybe follow it. It depends. It really depends. Sometimes earnings just kind of do whatever they want. Earnings-based stocks. If the market SPY goes down 3%, can CrowdStrike still hold up and go up? 100% can still do that. In my opinion, can still do that. But QQQ would also go down if the SPY goes down 3%, and the weightage of the tech basket could maybe stop the rally of CrowdStrike into, let's say, $400, but I don't think it would bring in sellers to the point where it gets stuffed all the way back under, you know, that 338 level that I was talking about. Like, in my opinion, how good that report was, 338, which was the previous all-time high, should not come into play. Like, we should have so much demand for the stock, it should just not come into play. People just should fight for the price, and they should start fighting somewhere around $350, because that is where the after hour earnings anchored VWAP is, and it's showing you where the best price, the most premium price for where the stock should be. Anything lower than that is kind of not premium price. And then you're wondering, okay, so where did that demand go? If that demand is not showing at what should be premium price, then is that report not as bullish in that opinion? But what we read was absolutely bonkers report on CrowdStrike. Box for the support, I think you're still using kind of like today's low over here. So let's zoom out real quick on the chart, move over some of my lines real quick. Do I have some of the lines? Where did my lines go? What the? I guess I don't have lines. Okay. Move this bad boy over here, move that bad boy over there, put in today's low, put in today's high, mark them up real quick. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low, and that should be pretty much all I need to do. And again, I get ready for pre-market. I'm just gonna delete some of these lines because they intersect, and there's no point of these intersecting lines. Oops. There we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so now we're basically looking what happens. That looks like the previous earnings VWAP coming into support in the after hours over there. Okay, so somewhere between $25 to $27, you would expect support to still start showing up on the stock. If it does get under 25, 25.50, this is where, in my opinion, you know, a lot of room to the downside opens up on this position. Let's zoom out also on the regular trading or on the 60-minute time frame. Right over here, if we do get under 26, that looks like we're going to start closing the gap on the hourly chart a little bit. Right around over here, though, if we do start getting under 25, as I said, that really opens up a good amount of room to the downside over here. Let's even say 24.50. So a little bit of support, but overall, if we start seeing action to the downside, then the report was really bearish and that partnership was irrelevant for BOX. But I don't think that happens. I mean, the stock still is being added to the goddamn index, so you might want to be a little bit careful if you're thinking bearish on the stock. I will be most likely looking to just buy the dips. We'll see if those dips get bought up. So far though, ever since that news got announced that we were getting added, it's been sadly sold off to the downside, and maybe the earnings kind of reignites that move to the upside on BOX. Let's go actually check if BOX has a pretty high short float on it or not. Do you have a 5%, 6% short float? Not too bad, not too good. It's whatever. We'll just have to see if the stock can bring in some good action in pre-market itself, at which point we'll get excited. For now though, BOX actually gets downgraded to a lower tier priority. We'll put it on blue for BOX, and that leads us to the next part of the earnings board, Target. Do we not have anything in the pre-market tomorrow? We do have stocks in the pre-market tomorrow, so I almost forgot to put a bunch of stocks over here on my watch list. Let's add JD. However, like I mentioned, the Chinese sector has been a little bit of a turn off. NIO did give you a long opportunity today, but mostly a turn off for the big part. ANF, we cannot forget ANF. That is a big stock right now. If you guys know how ANF is moving, you will agree. THOR is a little bit of a low volume stock, but maybe gives you a good opportunity to trade tomorrow, so maybe keep that on your watch list. Campbell's also coming out with their earnings report, but we being me, I only care about FL's, which is, I almost called it FL Studio again. FL being Foot Locker, ANF, which is Abercrombie and Finch, and JD.com. So let's add those three to my watch list. Let's copy this, put it into my ATR scraper. What ATR do you three have? Copy that ATR, put it over here, and now we can go back to chart. So JD, the next up on the watch list, it's not Target. Sorry, Target. Let's quickly delete some of my lines over here. Boppity boopity beepity boop beep boppity beep 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 beep. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Move that bad boy over here. Today's low. Move that bad boy over here. Today's high. Move that bad boy over here. Move that bad boy over here. Okay, looks like we're right into the 52-week low at the moment on JD.com. Earnings reports for the most part green on JD, but absolute destruction over here. Something's going on in China too, if I remember correctly, and that's kind of bringing down these stocks again. And if Trump wins election, you know, we're having that whole fear of these stocks getting delisted all over again, so nobody really wants to invest in Chinese stocks. So this whole sector has been a little bit of a turn off. But if volume comes in, if stock has a good earnings report, and we start pushing back to the north side into some of these ranges where the stock has previously struggled into, you can see how the previous earnings anchor view up is right around this area, also into this 24 to 25 area. So on a good report, if we do pop into 24 to 25, possible shorts off of these areas for us to bring it back down and scalp some moves over here. But if 25 actually breaks through, then we got some good longs to kind of join right back into the north side over here on JD, because that opens up some room over here right back into $30 on JD as a swing term idea. So watching to see what happens in this box high on a good earnings report, and on a bad earnings report, you're possibly just breaking below that's all-time low. Wow. God damn. Yeah, so you're probably watching the stock going into all-time low at that point, and either it bounces off of that all-time low or it makes another new all-time low like Rivian has been doing recently. Has Rivian still been making all-time lows, or it finally bounced a little bit? It's kind of stuck in that range overall. But yeah, JD kind of looking scary over here. So let me quickly put in some of my notes. 1921 is the all-time low, but before that, today's low was $21. I'll see what happens at 21. Under 21, we have 2080. I mean, I'll just put in 2080 to 21. Can you do something for me? And under that, you have the all-time low of 1920 ATL. all-time low. That's insane, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely nuts. Okay, and then come back to the daily chart over here, please. Let's go to the 60-minute first. $0.60 ATR, 80-cent ATR. I mean, that looks like a pretty big brick wall at the moment. Come on. Do I even want to trade the stock at this point tomorrow? That looks like a lot of struggle right there. This whole area looks a lot of struggle. Yeah, we'll see what happens on JD tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. This doesn't really look too hot for me on JD over here. JD looks pretty sad, and if it goes to a new all-time low, it looks even more sadder. So I'm not really sure how to structure a long, but if it does go down, we have a beautiful short. That's all I can say. And if it does go into the all-time low and bounces off the all-time low, we have a beautiful long at that point. But if we're just in these ranges, there's so much going on in these ranges where the buyers are coming in, sellers are coming in. There's a lot of chop at the moment too. I don't want to really join the chop in the middle of these ranges. I'd much rather just be patient at the extremes and see what happens into $25, like I said earlier, and then see what happens at $20 over here to the downside. So I kind of just want to delete all these lines. I don't even want to bother to see what happens in these areas. If I have lines there, I feel like I will make a decision. So I'd much rather make a decision to the downside here or to the upside here, and that's where I'm going to put my lines or my levels on watch. So 24 to 25 to the north side on JD, I'll kind of keep that an eye out too. And 25 is only coming in because the previous earnings anchor VWAP is there, but I expect that earnings anchor VWAP to kind of get drawn down to this area if the stock does pop up to the north side on a good report. We'll see how China comes out with their report tomorrow. Foot Locker, monster move to the north side so far. Pretty good recovery on Foot Locker. Not sure who still goes and buys stuff from Foot Locker every single day, but people do apparently. I thought people just do online shopping now. No one really goes to stores anymore, and people just online shop, but looks like I was wrong. Foot Locker still making a pretty good recovery over here to the north side at the moment. Overall though, it has been knocked down pretty hard, looks like on FL. I'm just trying to move over some of my indicators. Let me quickly just do that part. That part. Yo. Put in, come on, yesterday's high. Put in yesterday's low. Now we have that marked out. Looking to see some levels on the daily chart. We are actually looking to close a gap over here on the stock. That's pretty good. Looking to close a gap, so looks like that might move up over there on any sort of a positive earnings report. We do have this little high coming into play, that more recent high. So if we can take out the more recent high, the stock has ATR of $1.29. Let's say that is what, 35.50. It's 35.60, but let's say it's 35.50. If we start taking out about 35.50 and actually start seeing some buying and some support of this 35.50 area, I think we got some good long opportunities as a swing trade into $40. So that means we can also set up for a nice little intraday swing trade setup, you know, looking for a good area to push good long into and give it that right risk the stock deserves, and see how big of a move can the stock move into. The stock has an ATR of $1.29 tomorrow on the earnings report. Maybe we got a $2 ATR in total. So very interested to see how Foot Locker moves. Pretty big bear on Foot Locker, if you guys remember me, but I would love to see if we could set up for a long over here through this break. But I think on the positive earnings report, we might actually close the gap and be somewhere into $40, or even all the way up to this high of $43 to the north side. So right now I am putting that 35.60 into my notes as a resistance, along with $40.50 and $43, but depending on how the stock moves or where the stock ends up being in pre-market, the levels will have to be revamped a little bit. So as for support right now, I'm just gonna put in I'll wait. I think I'll wait for the support, because I think if I do put in today's low, what if the report's bad? Then I might just have to put in somewhere around these levels as my supports. I'll mark in some of these levels actually right there. You can also even drag that level all the way to the downside into that lower marker, honestly. And then below that, we got a beautiful gap close to the downside into $24. So I have these areas kind of watching. I think on a bad report, we actually drop into this $30 area. If we do drop below 30 all the way into 25, 25, 6 or 26 area, then that means the report was really bearish. If we close the gap, then it's wow, the report was monster bearish to the downside, and that is probably where I will guarantee you will be looking for a long. I will 100% be looking for a long down here for an intraday setup. But for a swing term, I mean, that's a bearish candle, so you want to be careful how that's setting up for the intraday, sorry, for a swing trade. So we'll see how pre-market moves. Foot Locker ANF was a monster move. Oh my god. If you bought ANF at the start of the year, it was $21. It's now $140. That's insane. It's currently just deleting all my lines because most of these lines are no longer in play. This stock has to have a high short float at this point. And honestly, when's the last time you saw somebody wearing ANF clothes? Like, come on, guys. When's the last time you saw somebody wearing ANF clothes? What is this rally? This is the all-time chart. What is this rally? This is insane. Just lost for words overall at the end of the day. I mean, I just don't see anyone wearing ANF ever. But they keep coming out with amazing earnings reports and they just keep moving up higher and higher and higher. So pretty interested to see how this one sets up tomorrow. The volume is only 1 million shares, sadly, for a $100 stock. So you can expect the spread to be a little ugly and you know, unclean levels. Honestly, it's not going to give you the cleanest trades when the spreads are ugly like that. You're going to have to maybe even give the stock a little bit of extra room to wiggle around with before you know that you're actually wrong on the trade. So be careful. But right now, right into the all-time high of 140. Right into the all-time high of 140. You gotta have a high short flow at this point. Are you guys guessing? Anyone want to guess what it is? Bears and Podcast. Round 2 this weekend. It does have a high short flow, 11.9%. This weekend, am I doing something this weekend? I'm not sure. If I'm not doing anything this weekend, maybe. But if I am, then I can't, brother. I apologize. ANF has an 11% short flow. So if it does have a good earnings report, the stock is squeezing them balls tomorrow for all those shorts. So watch out. All those bear nuts are going to get squeezed tomorrow. I'm going to put ANF on a high priority on my watch list. It's a $4.35 ATR. Currently hanging out near this $140 area. On a good earnings report, a burst through 140, burning stops, people closing their short positions, and we just get a monster squeeze up. And if that doesn't work out, a nice little short opportunity finally, because the stock has made an insane rally and needs to get reverted back down. Finally needs to go back to the downside a little bit. So let's look for some of those short opportunities on ANF, and the earnings report will most likely kill this rally tomorrow or start a whole new rally by burning these shorts. So watch out. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people did not have ANF on their watch list, on their radar for this whole time. So, you know, tomorrow you're gonna find out a lot of people putting ANF on their radar. I bet these kids on swaggy stocks, or should I say Wall Street bets, are gonna start looking at ANF a lot more. There you go. these kids are gonna start catching traction to this ANF stock, so watch out for it. It's gonna start catching traction, it's gonna start blowing up, and people are gonna talk about it. I think tomorrow's gonna be a game changer for this position, either way, to the upside or to the downside, and you will be making a big regret not watching ANF. Target 170, monster move to 170 target. We called that move over there. I did say 183 is insane. I would not expect 183, but 170 is for sure within view, and we actually got 170. So shout out to your boy Prastradamus nailing that level over there like they did Jesus to the cross. That was a joke, guys. It was a joke. Don't sue me. You know, target over here went to the 170 area, but now I think we're getting ready to find some buyers in these ranges and move higher into that beautiful target move of 180 or so, which is that triple top. Was it a triple double top? Triple top on TGT into that 180 zone. Come on, stick. Where's my magnet? Magnet. There you go. Into that 180 area. So looking forward to finally see that 170 breakout. If we do get that 170 breakout during market hours, oh boy, trust me, I'm going to be involved in that breakout very, very much. Today's high was actually 170.50. So I'm going to put in 170 to 170.50 to keep on eye for target resistance to the upside. GTLB. Oh, my heart hurts watching the stock to the downside. I will warn you that the stock on the day after earnings drops down drastically, almost to the point where it becomes irrelevant. So you want to be careful. You could see some buying coming into this double bottom over here on I almost called it Roblox, on GitLab, right into $57. We do have that little bottom into 55 before it made that run up into the previous earnings. So basically previous earnings low into 55, or this double bottom into 57 could show up as supports on the stock. But if it does go under that, then there is no long. In my opinion, there is no freaking long if it's not holding 55 on the bid. You want to be very careful looking for a long under 55. It could open up a lot more room to the downside on GitLab. We could go right back into these ranges where it's trading between 40 to 48, 40 to $50 on a weekly scale. So be very, very careful, ladies and gentlemen. If you are holding your GitLab longs, I would urge you to take some profits. Please take some profits. Watching GitLab on the way down now, near 57 and then near $55. Today's low, quickly gonna move my markers over. Today's low and today's high. Thank you. I guess I can remove that line at this point. GitLab, always on the watch list, always in my heart. SE, little bit of a reversal move, I guess. On the earnings day, we did you know, close the gap, but now we are moving right back into the north side. Now it kind of wants to reclaim the earnings day high, looks like, on SE, the Singapore mobile gaming company. In my opinion, not really that high of a priority for me, so I'm just gonna skewer through that stock and go to CRM making that reversal back into that previous all-time high. So looking like a little bit of a negative earnings report, but I will promise you this earnings report was not that bad at all. It is maybe the second best earnings report that we actually saw on the earnings season. The first one taking CrowdStrike. Before CrowdStrike was actually CRM. So CRM, I'm expecting a little bit of a buying opportunity over here into this $300 area. Look for 300 to go back into support, especially if the market has some buying tomorrow. But if the market finds some selling, then you might just have that overall you know, QQQ selling off. All these stocks that are at all-time highs are going to be selling off a little bit, sadly, too. That sympathy along with the overall market just being bleeded into these stocks that actually had good earnings reports, sadly. And that's why I keep saying prediction won't do any help for anybody, and CrowdStrike might actually go under 350 all the way into 338, which was the previous all-time high. But I promise you, it's not going to do that. It's going to stay above 350. At least I hope. At least I hope. CRM, though, pretty good reversal over here into the previous all-time high through 311, back through 300. The fact that we actually closed under 300 is pretty bearish over here on CRM, but you can see on the daily chart, that's a beautiful, like, penta bottom at this point. Pentakill. So beautiful little penta bottom into 295.50. Would love to see if that area continues to hold into the future, and then maybe we get to take a good little long through 300 on this position. not put 300 as my inflection because it's not really a support for me. Sorry, not really a resistance for me. The resistance is still around $312 or 311.75, which was the previous all-time high before the stock made this new all-time high. So 311.75 to 312. Today's high was actually 312.50. So you can even say 311.75 to 312.50. It would be the whole range as resistance that you would watch, but 300 would be the inflection point, meaning you would want to watch how the stock behaves into 300. Are we finding sellers into 300? Are we finding buyers above 300? And how the stock is behaving at said price points. Next stock, Snowflake. No bounce on Snowflake. What happened to my hand? No bounce on Snowflake. Sadly, to the downside goes this little bad boy. Bringing over a couple of my indicators. That is that is today's low, today's high. I think that is actually the after hour low that we made. So the fact that the stock is now under the after hour low, if I remember correctly, I actually said that was a trade that I would be watching. Did I fuck myself over? I was watching that too. I was looking for a trade there. I called that trade out. I think I said 170 in my notes. I missed out on this stock and I was more focused on cryptocurrencies. That Snowflake under 170 was a beautiful play, and you guys are welcome for that call. But like I keep saying, calls don't make money, only executions do, and I did not execute on this stock. This is pretty upsetting, but looks like, hey, the game's not done yet. Snowflake, the fact that we're under 170 now is opening up a lot more downside. This stock is looking like it wants to go into 150, 130, 140. The report was not that bearish for it to go into 140, 150s, but it looks like it's behaving that way. So, you know, like I'm not an analyst, so my job is to be a trader. My job is to look for opportunities to trade this position the way it's behaving, and if it does pop back into this 170 to 175, which was today's high, I'm expecting rejections to show up. That is a pretty bearish enough of a move for me. 1 day of pop on the earnings day and then 3 straight drop downs. I mean, that's enough. That kind of seals the upside. The patterns have been established now. The people who have the money to move this position are moving the position, and it's to the downside, sadly. So looking to see what happens under today's low. Don't think today's low actually comes into play tomorrow, and it means that we're gonna get under it. But if it does, more downside. So watch out what happens under 166 to the downside. Let me actually go to the 60-minute time frame, turn off the regular trading hours. You're telling me we're actually going to go below 160 tomorrow? That's insane. Today's high right around, well, today's high was around 172, 175 actually, but I'm looking at that 170 area, psychological 170 area. I'm actually going to put 170 as my inflection point, same way as we did with CRM earlier. The resistance will be that 175 high, which was today's high / yesterday's low. And as for support, which will be 166, we kind of talked about that, and under 166 it's sayonara, goodbye for Snowflake. I honestly don't think we see under 166 tomorrow. What is under my mouse? God damn it. I obviously don't think we see 166 and below 166 tomorrow, but if we do, I will 100% want to be in that stock. Okay, Dell, looking like this one was a little bit of an insane move now, wasn't it? One of my friends, Wayne Wang, called it one of the greatest hardware sellers for AI and blah 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 blah. Yeah, fuck you, buddy. This is a garbage company and it belongs in the dumpster. And the reason why you left is because it belongs in the dumpster. Now I'm joking. I'm just acting up just to piss him off if he's still in the chat. Overall, the stock did dump to the downside. It broke the anchored VWAP from earnings and clearly sold off to the downside, but managed to find support right into, I believe, at one of the levels that I had that come from the earnings move itself, and we will see that right now if we turn on the extended trading hours. So right there, the earnings first pop high came to get respected on this position as some buying, and then we popped right back up. So it'll be interesting to see if we reclaim the earnings anchored VWAP and start rallying back up, at which point that new all-time high that we just established recently on Dell will most likely be coming into play, and we're looking for that action above that play one more time, or that reject off that moved back to the downside. When the stock made that run up to the downside, if you guys are watching how that tape behaved, it was insane. The stock just insanely shot up $5 and then got destroyed. Gave some amazing short opportunities though. DELL. Watching Dell. Zoom also continuing to the downside over here. It previously was looking like it wants to hold the earnings areas and previous support areas, but now with the market move, sadly Zoom's moving back. Zoom actually has a good little support though into the 66 zone, so you might want to watch how the stock behaves into the 66 to 66.50 maybe, but I don't think Zoom is that high of a priority. If the market goes down tomorrow, Zoom could easily break that level too and continue going to the downside. But I think if the market holds up its area and Zoom's near 68, you could look for some possible longs there. Don't really see anything on Unity, so I'm gonna go over the cryptocurrency basket. And for that, what is Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin 63k. Okay, that's good. Let's go find out what's going on at Bitcoin's Bitcoin's bookmap. Shout out to our friends at Bookmap, Think with Bookmap channel. BT. This guy's amazing. Okay, BTC looks like a little bit of a fight overall. I mean, I'm not really seeing a big buyer or a big seller. There's a little bit of a buyers and sellers right now playing out. There's more buyers than sellers. Oh, look, right when we're talking, it wakes up. Oh yeah, baby, pump it, pump it up, pump it up. I'm actually not seeing any big seller as much as I'm seeing that big buyer right there. 40 coins went to 30 coins. Now it's actually dropping down a little bit. I guess they're maybe moving their coins up more than down. Overall, there's a lot more buyers than sellers. Those circles are bigger than the circles that we are seeing to the upside. So the sellers are being more aggressive, in my opinion, I think, than the buyers are. This guy's amazing. Look at him trying to keep up the stock because guys, go hit the like and the goddamn subscribe button when we raid this channel at the end of the day. These guys are amazing, okay? But overall, you guys get the idea over there. Not really seeing a big buyer or a seller. Why did I just do that? Not really seeing a big buyer or a seller on Bitcoin. But the fact that we got under 60k, reclaim 60k, is kind of like a thank God kind of moment on Bitcoin. But now it's more as to what really happens now. Clearly there's a big seller at 60k, right? 69k, sorry. Clearly there's a big seller at 69k. The seller dumped it last time. Previously people called it the Coinbase interruption is what pushed it to the downside. I said, just the Coinbase interruption alone can't push it that hardly to the downside, because there's other exchanges that people trade on also. But overall, that was a replication of another sell-off event coming in, but it got met with a buying event right away. So it's like, ooh, we got two whales fighting each other at the moment, and they're going, no, I'm right, no, I'm right, no, my pee-pee's bigger, no, my pee-pee's bigger. I bet you it's Peter Schiff and like Kathy Wood or something, and they're just having a PP size contest at the moment. So it's hilarious watching this PP size contest, but it's not hilarious watching my portfolio and my net worth fluctuating minute by minute and day by day, stressing the shit out of me. So Bitcoin over here, not only are we looking for day trades, it is absolutely fun watching just for portfolios, and just for, if you're not even in this portfolio, it's even fun just for watching it as a experience and learning purposes. It was fun watching him swing. Yeah, no kidding. I had AGGR.trade, and the liquidations that were taking place was just like, and the alerts were just going off. Let me just remove that window. Remove, where'd it go? What the hell happened to this window? There you go. So the alerts that just kept going off, it was just like bing 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 bing, and just kept ringing the whole time, and I was like, what is going on? My ears are like chiming like crazy. At some point my ears started vibrating because of the amount of noises that were going off, the liquidations that were taking place. So yeah, it was absolutely fun watching this take place, but I hope it doesn't happen again. Please God, please don't let me it happen again. I only want 69,420. Let me hit 69,420 at least once. How close were we today, man? 69,210. You're joking. Literally double the last 3 digits and I would have been there. That's a joke. But overall, my target was that close on the stock. Someone knows, man. Someone knows that I'm there, and they're just gatekeeping my profits at this point. I think it's Angry Buddha, honestly. Angry Buddha over here is claiming that he's buying the long, but instead he's actually selling Bitcoin big money every time it goes into my target area, just so I don't be able to take profits. I hate you, Buddha. Stop doing that to me. Nah, I love you, Buddha. You know, I'm just joking. Overall, though, this is kind of messing with Coinbase. This is messing with Mara. This is messing with BITO and GBTC. So Coinbase 240 is kind of struggling. 240 is the level that I called out for you guys. Look what's the high today. 239.98. That rejection of 239, 240 came in exactly when Bitcoin made that new all-time high and rejected. So it was like picture perfect. Now have Bitcoin made that new all-time high and kept rallying, how insane would have this 240 breakout been on Coinbase? I think we would have ran up to like 300 because of how Bitcoin would have probably squoze, in my opinion, right? I think obviously I was smoking that good hopium at that moment, and I completely zoned out on the short side. I was looking for the long through 240. I had the order set up and everything, but the 240 didn't break, and the stock just kept going to the downside. I was like, oh, I'll wait for the long. Instead, I actually took a long at 235 and quickly scalped out at 237. And I was like, I'll jump into the 240 when it actually breaks 240. It never really breaks 240. That was a spot for me to actually flip. I don't flip, and I miss out on a big short opportunity on Coinbase over here. Stupid me, man. Stupid me. But maybe those opportunities will show up tomorrow again, because looks like Bitcoin's moves are not done yet. So watching how Coinbase, watching how Mara moves, but more importantly, watching how BITO and GBTC move. BITO tracks Bitcoin a little bit more, in my opinion, than GBTC. So either way, I'll be watching all of them. I'll be watching GBTC. I'll be watching BITO. Let me just quickly move these bad boys over for myself, because after the stream, I won't have enough time to do all this. I will have to... Hey, we're gonna have to watch a video after this, so yeah, I won't have a lot of time to chart after stream, so I'm just gonna chart right now. BITO, which is today's high. Holy smokes, today's high. Holy smokes, today's low. That is a wide range on BITO, ladies and gentlemen. Wide range. Look at that tiny little range over there. Tiny little range over there. AMD, do I really care about AMD? Maybe we'll put it on the watch list. I mean, it is on the watch list. We'll just quickly chart it. That level, we'll just delete it. Where is that? Yesterday's low, yesterday's high. Move this bad boy over. That's AMD. Micron, you were so close, buddy. What happened? Micron was so close. It also had its earnings report recently, I think. No, its earnings report's actually coming out. I guess that's what they're waiting for. But Micron's all-time high was so close to getting into that push. I guess we're waiting for SMCI to kind of help Micron and other stocks in the semiconductor world over here. Nvidia, monster move on Nvidia today. It kind of looked like it was about to flush, but it saved itself and rallied to the north side. So Nvidia over there, saving the semiconductor sector too, but I think SMCI is the main indicator at this point. Indicator. We'll see what happens for the semiconductor stocks. The stock might just go to 2K. Going into that ad, I will not be surprised if it goes into 2K. Apple getting destroyed. 170 on Apple coming into play. Microsoft 400 coming into play over here. You guys know how important that level is, so keep watching what happens into 400 into Microsoft. Meta giving up the ghost most likely. I'm gonna have to check. I actually don't know. What is Meta doing into 400? They're 500. Yeah, so give up 500. We did flush back down, and now we're right back into the previous all-time high of 490. Not really something that I care about over here. I'm gonna move past Neta. What is Tesla doing? Tesla also sucking dick at the moment. Tesla failing big time, sadly. 175, 180. So 180 did. I think I was watching it. I tried a long off of 180 today, or was it 175? No, 175 didn't even show up today. I think it was 180. There was some size on 180. It did not work. The stock did flush. I was waiting for 175 to come into play. It did not come into play, and I missed out the long. That's what happened. Overall, 180 ended up showing us some support because we did manage to get back above 180 and close above 180 on the stock over here for Tesla. So you continue to watch 180, and then under 180, I think the only level that matters is at 175 on Tesla. And any level under 175, clearly Tesla is getting no love. They recently had that Berlin factory catalyst, which was they're pausing production in Berlin factory according to some sort of a fire or something like that. So obviously not a good catalyst for Tesla. More downside. Tesla is getting absolutely destroyed. I see what are those things called? Like I guess like the fans of Elon basically are all like saying they're trying to destroy Elon Musk by destroying his stock price. The company's actually not bad and everything. You know, they're basically singing the crying song for the Tesla song going down. They might be invested in it, or they actually love Elon Musk overall. I think it's actually just because they're invested in Tesla, so that's why they're crying about the stock moving down. But if they do genuinely like Elon, then I kind of understand what they're saying, that yeah, Elon's getting a personal attack over here, and anytime Elon gets attacked, sadly Tesla gets attacked with it, and that's what we're seeing at the moment over here. Down you go, Tesla, down you go. Hopefully not though, please, hopefully not. 175 long, or at least a 180 long. Now actually 180 is not in play as much anymore because we broke 180 today. So 180 is not really as much in play. It's more 175 for me. You gotta go show me what happens at 175. Your ATR is about $8. If you open at 180, let's say you open at 183 or so, I want you to go down to 175. Show me support at 175 and I'll go long off you there. Until then, I kind of want to just stay hands off. And if I do want to short, I kind of want to short it on the higher end of the ranges into 200, into 205. And have the stock flush against me, and then go to the downside. When's a good time to buy more Tesla? Honestly, if you're looking to, this is not financial advice, if you're looking to invest in Tesla or any of these large cap technology companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, I wouldn't say Netflix in that basket at all. Tesla is in that basket. So anytime you want to invest in these companies, just regularly set up an interval that would be comfortable for you and put a set of amount of money. So whatever your paycheck is or how much ever you make in a month, allocate a little bit of that money that you're okay with losing. That's the first priority. You're okay with losing that little bit amount of money. You don't even need it. Might be that caffeine addiction you have over there, little one. I don't even know how old you are. I just called you little one. That's creepy. The caffeine addiction you have over there, wink wink, it's not even caffeine addiction, it's that alcohol addiction you got going. But any money that you can put aside, maybe you want to not drink alcohol as much. That money that you save from alcohol, you can put it into the stock market, put it on a regular interval. It's called dollar cost averaging, right? You're just buying the stock every single time at whatever price it is at a regular interval, and over the long period of time, these companies should not fail. They should not go bankrupt. At least in my opinion, they should not. These are the top 7 big companies in the world. They should not go bankrupt. If they do, then the whole world is probably already turning upside down at that point. At that point, you probably don't care about your account anyways. But you look to dollar cost average in these positions, and your job is not to be timing the market. It's time in the market. But obviously, the time in the market currently is at all-time highs, and a lot of people don't like to buy all-time highs. And it's understandable, but in my opinion, nothing wrong with a setup such as an all-time high breakout. You're taking an all-time high breakout on a lot of stocks on the intraday. Some people do it on the long term based on earnings report. I bet you a lot of people went long through the previous all-time high on CrowdStrike off the earnings report, right? So nothing really wrong with the report. It all comes down to the risk to reward, right? Make sure you're using stocks, the risk to reward. Even if it's an investment account, if you're punching, let's say, CrowdStrike through, let me actually pull up the ticker. If you're punching CrowdStrike through that 338 area long in the after hours today, let's say, and you're now at like what, 380? Now you're at 380, right? Awesome. But if the stock does go back through 350, you might want to take some profits. If it goes back through 338, 340, you might want to think about cutting down a little bit more. And then wherever your stop is on the original trade, then you got to respect the stop for at least some of your size after you pay yourself for your trade. So it still comes down to simple risk to reward ideology at the end of the day on the stock market, on any term scale that you trade on. So make sure that you're applying the proper risk, the proper management, and just dollar cost average for yourself. I would say dollar cost average. If they go bankrupt, I'm coming after you, even if it's non-financial advice, says Ani. I think I'm scared. I know how to fight. I know how to fight. Let me at him. I know how to fight. CrowdStrike, pretty high important stock for me, man. I'm very, very excited to see what happens on this stock. But tomorrow, like I said, we got Papa Powell on the mic, ladies and gentlemen. Papa Powell on the mic, which is not going to be fun at all. I guess it depends. If you're a futures trader and you like Powell, you like Powell being on the microphone. And if you're a futures trader and you're not a fan of Powell, then you're not going to be a fan of Powell being on the microphone. Overall, it's going to bring in some volatility, which is exactly what day traders need. So some fun times over there to come in, and a lot of other market and economic variables are also coming out throughout the day. Thursday is actually a little bit more important, I believe. Tomorrow we actually only have one thing coming out in the economic scale, economic calendar. We got 8:15 with the non-pharma payroll. We do have two, JOLTS numbers coming out at 10 o'clock. Wholesale inventories coming out at 10 o'clock. Wholesale trade sales coming out at 10 o'clock. So a bunch of things actually coming out. Okay, that's good. FOMC member daily talking at 12 o'clock. Atlanta GDP number coming out at 1 o'clock. Beige book at 2 o'clock. FOMC member 3:15 over there. A lot of members talking tomorrow for some reason. But Papa Powell at 10 o'clock starts testifying. I'm not sure what that testifying is about. I still need to do my research on that part. He also testifies on Thursday around 10 o'clock again. So basically a 2-day testimony. I'm guessing he's talking to the Congress or somebody overall. I would like to see more about it, whatever this is about. What is this about? On the economic outlook and the recent monetary policy actions before the Joint Economic Committee in Washington, D.C. The testimony is in two parts. The first of a prepared statement, then the committee conducts a question and answer session. The Q&A portion of the testimony can see heavy market volatility for the duration. Oh, there we go. We did our research. So heavy market volatility during the duration, like I called it. You can expect some wild moves coming in on the market 10 o'clock. So be careful. QQQ, SPY, IWM most likely will be watching. The market already sold off pretty hard today. Are we going to see market moving even harder? Fuck your calls, fuck your puts. JPal's got you by the balls. That's exact. Is that how it goes? I forget how it goes. It goes. I forget how it goes, but basically something along those lines. You know, he's gonna burn the stops for the bulls, burn the stops for the shorts, and just completely ruin everybody. And J Powell looks the better every single time, man. Every single time, he's the winner, just the winner. So we'll see what happens tomorrow at 10 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. Be very careful. Let me quickly show you the earnings board one more time for those of you interested. We still got Costco, AEO, not really that important, but the Kroger, which is a buyout company, Marvell, another semiconductor company, Broadcom, AVGO, MongoDB, DocuSign. So Thursday is a busy day, man. That's gonna be a fun day on Thursday. Fun day. Swaggy stocks, you can go. And let's go watch the final thing that we have for today. Technical analysis based video on YouTube from our friends at SMB Capital. Real quick, let me just quickly walk through all the things that we kind of had today in store. I talked about the watch list. We talked about the economic calendar. We talked about the we did our little back study on what the FOMC committee member Powell is talking about tomorrow. So obviously we found that part out. And did I have anything else that I want to talk before I want to watch the video? Not really. Here's the box ad that I was talking about. Oh, it's not 400. It's S&P 600. It's going to the S&P small cap 600. Sorry, I got confused over there. I thought it was 400, but it's going to the 600. Getting added. That's pretty bullish overall either way. Don't think I have anything else that I wanted to say, so I guess that's pretty much that. And now we can just happily go on to the next. You want me to go to the NASDAQ? Let me go to the NASDAQ. What's going on the NASDAQ? Oh, shoot. What the hell happened there? A big block of sell coming in. That's a lot of buys. What happened over there? A little bit of a selling. Okay, NASDAQ waking up for some reason. Some big buyer in the after hour session. What, 9:26 p.m.? You're just gonna randomly keystroke along? What the hell happened over there? Can we see exactly how many contracts were bought into that whole move? Is that, say, 51 plus 61 plus 61 plus 80? Or is that cumulative 51, 61, and 80 at this point? Is that cumulatively 80? Or is that 51 separate, 61 separate, and 80 separate? Big sweep. Yeah, no kidding. Big sweep over there. Monster buy action. Someone just keystroked or got liquidated. Not sure what the hell happened over there. But a big move on the NASDAQ markets. It looks like the markets are kind of looking like they want to go higher over here, ladies and gentlemen. Did I stop the stream? I did. The market looks like they want to go higher. Let me quickly go to playback speed 2 times. And it should take me to the live speed. There we go. We're at live speed. So clearly looks like the market wants to go up higher. 18K really might come into play before we wake up. We might go to bed and watch the market go back to 18K. So wait for that and see what happens on the QQQ and the SPY. We might have some fun. 18K actually has a pretty big seller right there. 57 contracts at 18K on NASDAQ market. So that looks like a pretty big wall right now. I think we'll see that seller continuing to add some pressure to the downside before we wake up. I don't think we should get back above that area. But thank you for that call out. Big sweep. Yeah, pretty big sweep over there. Sweep. But let's go watch this video, ladies and gentlemen. This video is about technical analysis is hard until you see this. So I can't wait to go find out what exactly we're going to learn in this video. Shout out to SMB Capital on YouTube. They are a proprietary trading firm in New York. If you guys are from New York, I think they also have remote trading positions available. So if you are a trader looking to trade with outside funds, prop funds and get trained by actually amazing traders, you can do so by applying at SMB Capital. Go check them out at smbcapital.com. Now I'm gonna use them over here to learn something new. That's what I do every single day when they post something that's for day trading, for prop trading. I just have to watch it. They're like my go-to day trading Bible, and I've learned a lot from them, and we're gonna continue to learn from them. And today it's about technical analysis. Let's watch this bad boy. I can't even hear anything.
Awesome. But it's useless if you can't translate it into specific trades with a real world edge. In this video, our head of trader development takes technical analysis principles and gives you 5 proven trades with a bonus of the exact entries, stops, and exits. I'm Mike Bellafiore, and we're one of the top proprietary trading firms located in New York City since 2005 and proud to develop numerous 7 and even 8-figure per year traders. Watch, take notes, and learn from a professional trader on our trading desk so you can grow your trading account.
Your ability as a trader to kind of use the technical analysis we're going to talk about in order to make good trading decisions.
We don't have
Zins.
We have Zonics. Come on, Canada.
Imperative. It's important to understand the technical analysis components, but it's even more important to understand how to use those technical analysis components into making really good trading decisions. Technical analysis.
But he's got
kind
the
of
finance bro jacket on. I like it.
And
I need a good finance bro jacket like that. But it doesn't say Patagonia on it. He needs to say Patagonia
previously. You know, really, when it comes down to it, technical analysis is a driving factor in how we make the decisions about what price is going to do next. We take a look at what happened previously. A lot of technicians will talk about patterns, and we'll go into some of the patterns. But really what we're talking about is the price action. And it's so easy to get caught up in the emotions of the price movement because it can seem confusing. It can seem spontaneous. It can seem super inconsistent even at times. But every part of technical analysis and every part of our really good trading decisions oftentimes are generated because of this idea that we talk about called price discovery. So if you look at any candlestick, any chart, any individual candlestick, it's just a visual representation of price discovery over time. So a single candlestick it's just a point of information that details out where price is trying to go as measured by that one period of time. So a weekly candlestick is price discovery that occurred over that week. A daily candlestick, it's just a visual representation of price discovery that occurred over that day. Hourly, 15-minute, 1 minute. These are all just visual representations of price discovery that occurred over that period of time. They tell us the highest price discovered, the lowest price discovered, where that candle, that price opened, and where it closed over that individual period of time. Okay. You know, candlesticks are just super universal. They can be used in a bunch of different ways. And we'll even talk about how you can use them in kind of a unique way. Towards the end of this video, you can jump ahead if you want to, but really the best way to do it is go through this systematically. We even have cheat sheets that once you go through the video, you want to look through those cheat sheets. But in general, let's go back and talk about a single candlestick is just a piece of information. Nothing more than that on any time frame.
Kind of giving the basic introduction right now for the beginners, you know, for the beginners.
We take a single candlestick and we start to combine these bars, these candles. We take these individual pieces of price discovery of information, and then we understand the price action that's being told to us by those individual pieces. In a structured way, we're using technical analysis to put together the pieces of a puzzle. It allows us to categorically identify things that have happened, so then we can accurately determine what is likely to happen again. It's like having the picture of the puzzle we're actually building, you know, the box, so that we can put together the pieces in a way that makes sense.
Can we get to the class?
Sense. We're still putting them together one piece at a time, but at least we can get a sense of how
I'm pretty sure we don't need to listen to all this.
Can come together to be patterns. The same trades show up depending on the information we've accurately identified by studying the price action. So let's get right into it. These same patterns, the same trades show up in futures, they show up in Forex, they show up in crypto, they show up in stocks, really any liquid and tradable market, they'll show up on any time frame because the technical analysis is the study of that price action for that time frame. So we're going to look at intraday data, but you will see the
wait, hold up. What the hell is that?
For that time frame. So we're
But he's got creatine or like protein powder. Even he's got protein powder in the background over there. These guys are doing like, I bet you that's like some next nootropic, like a caffeine nootropic or something. Like
look at intraday data
on it brain or something.
Exact same pattern occur on a daily time frame, on an hourly time frame, on a 15-minute.
He's got another one on the other side.
On a daily time frame.
He's got another one on the other side. Bro, how much powder do you guys take over there?
On an hourly time.
And do every single one, if you have one at the desk, why don't you guys just buy a big one and just share? What the
on a 15-minute. But let's get into our first trade. So we've got this setup that occurs. So when we're looking at this price action, what do we see? We see a lot of indecision. We see an area where the sellers stepped in and an area where the buyers were stepping in.
Okay.
So we had a range developed. What we classify a range, it can go to the top of the range. It can
I think he's talking about the break of the range and then the pullback and the reject of that pullback.
And the sellers tighten up.
Let's see if that's what he's talking about.
We have a little bit of what looks like a range consolidation breakout that occurs up here, but it doesn't clear the range. So
yeah,
all we're thinking of is if
let me hook up a big caffeine sponsorship, even though I don't drink caffeine. Actually,
a trade to the down.
You see in the background over there? Right in the background right here. Get these guys to sponsor me. Tag them on Twitter and oh sorry, should I say X? FKA Twitter. Tag these guys. They're known as G Fuel. Tag them and tell them to sponsor TraderPrad.
Downside.
Then you can get your free caffeine.
The price action, and we're putting together the pieces based on one candle.
You don't get free caffeine till I get free caffeine.
X. So in general, this is going to move pretty quick, but we're going to talk about the specifics of the trade. So our number one trade, the first consolidation break trade that we could look for would be a consolidation breakout, either above the high of this level or below the low of this level, kind of outside of our blue lines. If we're taking a straightforward consolidation breakout trade, we're paying attention to the price action, we're seeing the selling pressure build up, we can enter if there is a full close below that range. If that occurs, then our stop, based on the price action, based on the technical analysis, would be up above the highs of the range. So
there's more nuances to that, but yes.
Candle, and our stop is above the highs of the range. We would risk accordingly. There's another option though, and that other option would be
the
to
higher,
trade
bigger range,
a break and retest. We call it a second.
That's what I was gonna call. Hey, I said he was gonna talk about this, right?
Action that breaks the range, but we
comes back and then retests, and then it sells again. There you go.
When the range is that choppy, we oftentimes will get a retest of that range, of the backside of the range, and then we want to take the continuation trade. So what we're looking for specifically is the price action to test into that. We want to see it put
this is the cleaner setup to short into, in my opinion. This is a much cleaner setup to short into, because not all breakouts work. The greatest breakouts work and don't return, and that's because the demand and the characteristics and the change has changed. The demand is lower, the supply is higher. We are just plummeting, right? Those ones you miss out on. That's fine, right? You can't catch 100% of them. This is not Pokemon. You're not trying to catch them all. You miss out on the 100% of the ones that work amazing. Fine. But you also miss out on 100% of the ones that fail. The 100% of the ones that break, fail break, return, and go back into the range and trade within the range. So you miss out 100% of the bad ones too. That's good. But how do you make sure that you catch the decent ones? The ones that give you at the very least a way better risk to reward. Now, this risk to reward over here is a little crazy, right? Let's call this a $2 range. Taking that immediate short and giving it that risk of $2, this stock better have a $4 ATR, or it better have an $8 ATR for you to even think about, you know, this $2 range breaking and getting another $2 plus another $2 range on top of that, giving you that 2:1 risk to reward. Because if you're risking $2, you damn as well get that $4 reward for that, or that trade is just simply not worth it, right? Your risk to reward, it's not worth it. You're playing a coin flip. If you're risking $2 to get $2, you're playing a coin flip, and the coin flip is a 50-50 probability, 50-50 chance. That's garbage. You don't want to deal with that. You want to deal with the higher win rate probability and a better risk to reward. That's when this comes into play. So that one is when it breaks the range, pulls back to the range, rejects at that range again, at which point you can get in short around this area right here where my cursor is. You get short around this area, and then your stop is now above this high, somewhere above this high. So now you're risking way less. Your entry's pretty much the same, right? Your entry's pretty much the same. You're risking way less, and your reward is still pretty much the previous reward that you were kind of expecting when you were taking that breakout. But your risk to reward portfolio changes, your win rate changes too, because if the stock actually, after making this little rejection over here and goes back up, it's kind of negating the pattern that it created, which is we're going to go back into this range. At that point, the short's not in play. But after creating this little range, you have the stop somewhere over here, your risk to reward changes.
Let's watch the tape as we get in here and watch the price action unfold and see if we can see a distinct, clear failure on the test. Okay, we have that. So now our stop can go right above the highs of that candle. And we can look for the first close away, which we have right here. And we can take that trade to the downside.
There you go.
The rules are that our initial exit would be right here at the low of the range. But the reality is, let's look at what happened. We had this entire range that set up. We can think of it as a measured trade or a consolidation breakout trade. And we can look for 2 times the height of that range as our exit. So we're getting like insane risk to reward if we're taking that second chance with our stop right here and our entry right here. We're still getting really good.
You heard it here first.
If we enter
and
the
now
trade
put
here
depth of market on top of that. Depth of market, like you're talking about, like the level 2, like where the buyers are, where the sellers are, with the help of Bookmap. Obviously, if you're putting depth of market, you're understanding that there's more sellers at the moment than there's more buyers. You're using Bookmap to help you understand that you're seeing more sellers coming into the game at the moment. There are more buyers, for example, right there, right? More sellers, there were less sellers than there were buyers, and more buyers came into play. They bought up the position more. So getting that type of visual representation of the time of sales is also a great tool. So yeah, adding the depth of the market over there on top of these patterns to help you facilitate in that trade. Come on, ladies and gentlemen.
Here, because we're still looking for 2 to 1.
Trading is easy.
These are different trades.
It's only hard because we make it hard with our emotions and all the other nonsense in between.
How aggressive you want to be with your trading. We're seeing this continuation, and this is giving us a guide as far as where we should be taking our exits. Again, we're thinking about this range, right? Whoa, there we go. So that's where we'll take our exit. We had a really distinct move that went 2 times the height of the range that was there. That is a really good, straightforward 2 to 1 range trade. When you get a breakout of a range, the most simple way to do it is look for a 2 to 1. Let's talk about the next trade.
So easy, an ape can do it.
The next trade.
That's what I call myself.
The next
That's
technical
an ape who
analysis
smokes
component
trees
that
and
we're going to
punches
talk
keys.
about is extension. So we just covered what ranges are. Now we're going to define extensions. Extensions and overextensions are just a measure of the distance traveled over the time. So this is
Oh, I like this idea already. I didn't think about this
quickly...
idea. Ooh. I think I know what he's talking about here. I like this idea already. So let's say it took the stock 30 minutes to consolidate over here. You want to see it make that width of that range at least in 15 minutes. And if it does, a possible area to maybe go long, because that was an overextension, and you could possibly use, I won't, but you could possibly use RSIs and MACDs to help you with that.
Did this distance travel in the time that it took? We were consolidating for a pretty significant period of time, and this entire distance, twice the distance of the height, was traveled 20% of the entire time of that consolidation.
20%.
That's a pretty fast, sustained move. Because of that, we can look for maybe a failure and some sort of retracement. We actually get this as it's setting up right there. Did you notice how we tried to break down and we put in what's called a double bottom? That's actually a bottoming pattern. And when we have that extension combined with a pattern, we have a low put in, we have a move up, we have another low put in, and then when we break what's called the neckline right here, we can enter our trade long. Our stop would be below the entire low of the move, right there, and we're targeting at least a 1-to-1. This isn't a super high probability trade.
Here's just a quick scalp. This is a quick scalp.
Fade trade though. So when we get our 1-to-1 target right up into here, which happens to be another thing where we're running into, okay, we take our exit.
I don't like that 1-to-1 though.
That's the whole trade.
But it's a quick scalp.
We combine the extension component with a price action component. We wait for the neckline to get broken.
I would have liked to get long somewhere down there. Now, if we can just kind of reverse
action component.
He has too many. Okay, right there, perfect. So right here, you know how he's talking about that double bottom? Yes. So you see how the stock makes a new low. After making a new lower low, it gets bought right back up. Then some buyers come in, but there's still that seller right there, and that seller probably moved down over here. That seller's still there, and he sells it a little bit more, but then that seller runs into that same buyer again. And that right there is I've seen this a lot of times where, seller and a buyer are fighting, and eventually a seller gives up because he sees that, hey, I'm kind of done now because there's a buyer who wants to act up and kind of go against me. So in that case, that seller walks away, and then you get this reversal coming in. So that's where I kind of want to look for that long somewhere into these areas where your stop is even better risk to reward. That breakout, not really a big fan of it, but it is a trade setup, that it's a valid setup. You could take that breakout and give it that stop, but at that point, then you have to be kind of proactive. You're kind of reading the tape, waiting to see if this previous pops that it rejected into, are the sellers still there? Now, it could be the same seller that was here that moved down all the way down here. Now, are they moving back up, and are they still looking to sell? And if they are, you want to be careful and get ready to punch out of your trade if they aren't. But if they aren't there, your target gets back into VWAP.
That's it. That's the whole trade. We combine the extension component with a price action component.
And Google,
wait for the neckline to get broken.
I actually have an example for this today.
We take our trade and we look for
I think Google did
1-to-1.
this.
So we're skipping forward.
Let's take a look.
We're looking at.
Ta-da! So Google consolidated, broke down, had that little double bottom right there. Let me zoom back in. Had that little double bottom, went back up, beautiful long. Took out VWAP, kept going higher. I actually had a nice short on Google today from somewhere here all the way to the downside, but insane reversal to the up top. So kind of like what he was talking about over there, catching that reversal on an overextension.
We've seen the same setup occur where it's this range that's forming, and we've got a range that's conformed by the horizontal trend line on the
Or
top
SD?
and
What's
the horizontal
SD?
trend line on the bottom. We're seeing buyers step in every time it comes down to the lows,
SD.
and sellers step in every time it tests the highs of the range. People will say, oh, look, there's a triangle, and I guess that is true.
Can't think of what SD
We
is.
could look for the break of that, and if you take that trade, you have a really nice, again, break and retest
Standard
of that,
deviation,
and then we would
duh.
look for a move up
Duh.
here. Your stop would go below the low of the triangle.
I'm an idiot. I apologize.
And you would be targeting.
And the
price
fact that
action
you guys
coming
are still
right up
sitting here watching
The
this
challenge
idiot
with this trade is, and it
makes
is a
me
tricky
humbled.
one. It's because
Thank
it's
you
in the middle
for
of
everyone here hitting that
congestion.
like, hitting that
It's in
subscribe.
the middle of
And if you
all
haven't
of this
yet,
range. We call this stuck in range or midpoint.
answer your
This
mama's
is
text
basically
message.
midpoint. So could it work? Yeah, but is it a high probability trade? No. If you took this exact same setup, this exact same price action right here, and you put this at the high of the day or the low of the day, it would be a much higher probability trade. But when it's stuck in all of this nonsense, all the up and down, it's stuck in the middle of this entire range, you have a super tricky trade. And
Yeah,
think
you
about
can
it
take
from
the
perspective
breakout
of
from here or the breakout
participants
from here, I
involved.
guess.
You have traders on both sides here who were in from the lows or in from the highs, and they're going to cause all this havoc in the price action.
I don't really
So it
like to
becomes
do this
really, really
nonsense,
difficult
but I guess
to
you
actually
could.
look for a clean move. This is one of the key principles of any technical analysis is you want to avoid
Yeah.
mid-range
I was just
trading.
gonna say I don't
And
want
the
to do
reason why
this. Oh my god, he just talked about it. Look at
you
that.
want to avoid mid-range trading is simply because mid-range patterns are more prone to failure. Patterns are, and technical analysis in general,
Yeah, I don't
is
even need
best
S&P
used
Capital.
at the
S&P Capital needs
extremes.
me. No, I'm
So it's
joking.
used when there's been a very clear reset and a very clear extreme that's built out on either the highs or the lows, or a very clear overtime pattern. Those tend to be the best. When it's mid-range and it's choppy like this, it's really, really difficult to get an accurate read, and you can be fodder for, unfortunately, the market makers that are going to push it in both directions, stop people out of their position, and then rebid. There's the old expression, if it doesn't scare you out, it's going to wear you out. And a lot of times being mid-range is going to be a
You
big
can't
problem.
scare me, nor can
So
you wear
can
me
look at
out,
the
baby.
trade
I'm
and
a
say, "Oh, it
warrior.
stopped me out at the lows and now it went to the highs." The reality is it's probably something to avoid entirely. But let's see what happens when we come
Mid-range
up into
trades
this
are not just
resistance
worth
area,
it. They're just
right?
kind of just
We have
not
this
worth it.
clearly defined resistance area.
Because
And
like
again, we have our
even if you put a stop under here, it could easily go down to low a day, tick low a day, and then run back up, and at which point you'll feel like an absolute moron for putting a stop under here. So it's like, that's why I don't like these
clearly
mid-range
defined
ideas.
support area. We're talking about a range here. It looks like we're going to break out of that, right? So are we going to take that range break trade? Well, let's look at the difference from this. The price
Standard
action
deviation
moving
is
up in this
overthinking
side
it.
versus
Hit
the
it
way
and
the
quit
price
it.
action
Don't
moved
hold.
on the prior range break.
TH has a
When we're looking
100%
at
hit and run
technical
somebody.
analysis, you could
I
say,
bet you.
yes, these are both range break trades.
TH has 100%
But
hit
when
and
we
run
study
before.
the price action and the way the range broke, when we study the price action and we look at the strength that led into that, we recognize that this range, either it's going to work really well or it's going to fail. And the reality is this is more prone to fail when it's come a long way into it. Think about the energy that it's used to get to that point. From the low of the range to the high of the range very, very quickly. When we look at what happened previously, it was very methodical. It was like that momentum, that supply was kind of building and building and building. And then finally, when the range broke, it really broke. This was almost chasing. So it went right up to the highs of the range. So that's something that you always need to be aware of. It is more prone to failure when it goes a long distance fast. You actually want to see what's called a running break, which that running break is usually 3 or 4 candles that just kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then break. You don't want to see a sprinting break. Sprinting breaks are usually really, really tricky, and they're prone to more failure. As the price action fails, you could actually take a failed breakout trade here. That's a part of the reason why you want to respect the price action as it's coming in. The failed breakout trade would be once you get a close below that range, you would be stop above the high of that range. Why? Because the stop would tell us is placed based on where the sellers wouldn't let it get higher. Our entry would be as soon as the bar breaks the low of this little tiny range, right? This range is built out. We would be looking for it to fail and then go to the other side of the range at least.
You're still kind of like trading in between the range. I guess like, yeah, you're kind of using the failed breakout.
That's a failed breakout trade.
Yeah, failed breakout. Makes sense.
Trade. You want to be as close on entry as you possibly can be.
Yeah.
You want your stop to be just above the highs, and you always want to target the other side of the
I wouldn't suggest if you're a beginner trader to go around looking for this specific setup. I wouldn't suggest people to go around looking for this. The other two setups that we just talked about, I would suggest you go look for that.
And then a green bar, and then a red bar, and then a green bar. What is the price action telling us? It's telling us that sellers are pushing, right? Because we have a downtrend. We have clearly lower highs and lower lows made almost each bar. But we're also seeing that buyers are stepping in. This is something to take note of, especially when you're seeing something like
wants
this,
my attention.
press down into the lows of the range.
What happened?
Because the question we're asking ourselves
any
is,
update.
how sustainable is this?
Why did the lights go off?
And one of two things can happen. The sellers can take absolute control, which
New
is a viable
subscriber,
option.
day
What would we
trader.
look for?
Whoop.
We'd probably
Awesome.
look for
Thank
like
you for
a
hitting the
second
subscribe
chance
button.
break, or we would look for maybe a little consolidation that goes sideways, so we would see the pattern change, maybe a little pop, and see, before we break, see that buyers try and take control, something like this, and then look for it to actually roll over. We would use a stop above the high of wherever that pop comes from, but we don't want to get into the predictive nature. We want to get into a game where we're waiting to see what happens. We're thinking about what could happen, and then we're putting ourselves in a position to allow that to happen. That's one of the key things of technical analysis. It's listen to the price action in order to understand what is happening so you can adjust your trading to what you want to see happen, to basically what is going to happen for you. So right now we have something that we call chop or hot garbage, right? The price action's holding near
hot
the low.
Garbage.
Is it trading?
Or
like
I call it
sellers
dog
in
shit.
Absolute control? No, not at all. It's just super choppy. We don't know which direction this is going to go.
I still even haven't had my dinner yet, guys.
We don't need
like
to pull out our
9:56
book and say,
p.m.
what pattern is this? Because the action isn't showing that there's any real information to be had.
Yes, I am.
It's like when we went back to our
And I'm no longer part of that other
previously.
trading channel.
This is just tough.
Yeah, I am
Wait
that
for a
same Prad
change.
from Canada.
And look for something that's clear.
Canada.
All of our price action patterns, all of our technical analysis work better when there is clear participation.
That looks like a short setup right there. Break with low a day. That looks like it's setting up to break the low a day and continue lower. So that short right there, that if you took, you could have pyramided into that short. Now, for those of you who don't know what pyramiding is, we watched that video recently, and I would suggest you to watch that video. Actually, I don't think I watched it with you guys. I think I watched it on my own time. No, I do remember watching it with you guys on stream. So if you guys remember that, yeah, pyramiding is basically you start with your full lot size over here, and then you add half of your lot size, but your stop for your full size is over here. That way, if you do lose, you kind of still end up being a winner or a small loser if you do
prone
lose.
to failure for continuation when the price action is really choppy. And a very simple way to look at how choppy the price action is,
there breaks the low day,
is look at the size of the wicks relative to the size of the
got bought right back
of
up.
the
Oh
bar.
shit, son, run away.
Because we had that forced breakdown that we just saw.
Sing it. I don't know the
We
whole
can now
national
think
anthem. Are
to
you kidding me?
If we get
It's been
continuation
so
lower,
long
what would
since
we
I
look
sang
for?
the
Well, we want
national
the price
anthem.
action to be clean. If we get
Years.
move back higher, what would we look for? Well, we would want it to get above some sort of level, right? We would want something like
There you go. There's the
prior
lower day break.
resistance.
You add over
Like, so let's
here.
say
You continue
this
to the
area right
downside.
here
You could
where
even
we
add
saw
on the
the
lower
sellers
day
not
break. Pyramid
really
more.
give any
See,
room to the
he's
buyers,
adding the
right? We
line
saw the
now.
buyers
I
trying
just
to
talked
step
about
in.
it already,
We
bro.
want that
Come on,
area
catch
to
up.
act as
Catch up, bro.
support. So a key tenet could be prior resistance becomes support. The reality is Could you have taken
I'm
this
having
trade
that.
and made money?
I'm having that UFC moment where anytime in a UFC you say something and the commentator says something right after you, like 2 seconds after, and you're like, I could do your job. That's what I feel like right now.
Would it have been difficult? 100%. There are traders who will take this trade and they will do very well with it. They'll say, oh, I shorted that and look, I was rewarded. But based on the price action, it's telling us that this pattern is somewhat prone to failure. This pattern isn't really supported by the real participants that we like to see.
Yeah, this pattern over here is very, very bearish for me. I would have shorted this for sure.
Each individual bar, we put those together to get the price action. We can think to ourselves, well, what's really happening?
And you can see it's already under VWAP too.
This doesn't feel
clearly
right.
didn't even reverse all the way back to VWAP after making a higher low, consolidating above the higher low, and then clearly filling off.
And then we monitor to see if there's something distinctly different. And what we're seeing right now seems to be a little different.
Oh.
Do we notice how quickly that changed off the lows? Now we can use this little area right here to monitor for the potential of something that's different. See it holds.
Yeah.
Okay, it's trying
to
go higher. That's very, very interesting.
That's where you close your trade.
Okay, now we can think about, do we have a failed breakdown? We talked about the failed breakout on the other side, but do we have a failed breakdown? We need to combine it with a price action pattern. So we still don't have a price action pattern, but we're going to get into one right here. So we moved right up into that area of prior support. The way that it traded lower and then came in here makes us think, look at the distinctness of this selling. Well, if we break this to the upside, we have something that's called an ABC scalp. A on that first leg.
I don't know about this one.
Very clear.
I don't know about this one.
Selling pressure.
You're clearly going against the trend. You're clearly going against the seller. Yeah, you might end up getting a nice little quick scalp or whatever.
That is a trade that we can make.
I don't like this one.
Simply right below
this is where you close your short and you move on.
And instinctually,
this is where you take your short. This is where you add to your short. This is where you close your short and you move on.
That's this light blue line that we have right there. And you'll notice it's been on our chart the entire time.
Well, I don't know about this ABCD bullshit.
Moving average. That exponential moving average gives us a lot of information about which direction, who's really in control.
Yeah, now you're just selling courses to me, dog.
Price will hold.
Now you're just selling me courses.
In extreme momentum, price will pull away from that 9 EMA. All we're doing in this little ABC scalp we took right here.
Think with Bookmap. Agree about that. ABC, not sure about it. Yeah, not sure about this one, 100%.
Why are we doing that? Because we observed the type of selling that was occurring as the price action was coming lower. It's a little tiny thing, but these little things become so important. Now we're back up above this entire area, and we have that really strong extension. We're still trailing with that 9 EMA. We can trail our stop, trail our stop, trail our stop with that 9 EMA. We allow the price action to do what it's going to do. Now, the reason why this trade would work so well is because of the weakness of this breakdown. We talked about it the entire time. This doesn't seem right. This doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. This is the response from that. We had this really distinct price action pattern that we could trade. When we didn't need to trade off the lows, we could wait for that to come in.
You could have kind of called this more of a failure to break the previous day's low, where it actually breaks the previous day low and then it got bought back up. You could have kind of used that to get you into a long with the stop right at the bottom. That's if you weren't in the short already. But using that ABC scalp to look for this type of a move, I think that's a little wild to me. Like, this honestly is just like the previous all-time low was somewhere over here. Somewhere right here actually was the previous all-time low, not all-time low, previous day's low. previous intraday low was somewhere around here. So it broke the previous intraday low clearly, and then it came back up, back above the previous intraday low. I think it's right over here where it found that support, right over there. And then when it got back up through the previous intraday low and then showed you support above the previous intraday low, you can see this on the time of sales. You can see this on tools like Bookmap and other softwares, right? So you can see that coming into play over there. At that point, you could possibly be like, oh, okay, I like this long. That's if you aren't in the short already. If you were already in the short, this is where you kind of go, okay, I'm out of the position, I'm dumping it, it's no longer a short. But if you want to flip to it, that's a better idea instead of going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? So forget the A, B, C, D part. If you focus on what the stock is doing, the idea that the buyers are now buying it back above the previous day's low, which was actually getting sold previously not too long ago, not even like 5, 10, 15 minutes ago, it was getting sold, and now we're just getting bought above that level. That's the indicator for me to go long and use this low as a stop instead of that nonsense.
Now we can trail our stop all the way up, still using
when a stock is about to change trend, the bars will begin to narrow, then expand after the turn.
Which tells
when stock is about to change trend, the bars will begin to narrow and then expand after the turn. Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like on the time of sales too. You can see the time of sales getting active, bidders, sellers, and whatnot, and eventually it starts slowing down. The tape speed slows down, the tape velocity slows down, and eventually the characteristics of the tape change, and then you'll start seeing the sellers kind of moving their positions higher and the bidders moving their positions higher also, but the sellers running away brings in the wider candles and the wider moves and so on. So it makes sense.
VWAP and the 9 EMA on the chart, because they're seeing what side of the momentum we're trading on, but then also we're looking at what side of balance are we on. Are the sellers generally on the day in more control than the buyers? When you get that hard move up to VWAP, well, that's a really, really good, very clear, distinct move. We still haven't had to exit our position because we haven't had a close below the 9 EMA. When we have all of this occurring right at this area that was prior resistance,
the 9 EMA on the 5-minute chart. That's what I would use it on, not the 1 minute, even though a lot of people do use it on the 1 minute. I would use it on the 5-minute chart.
So important.
That gives you a bigger
9 EMA going up into that level, and VWAP right there.
Trade to hold most of the time, in my opinion.
But let's look at where the price action's pulling back to. So we took our stop, and it pulled right back into this level of prior resistance. Does this become support? Once we get a close back up, we could take a long trade with our stop below the low of the wick. Right there, we could take a long trade with our stop below the low of the wick. Again, going back to our second chance scalp. And we're targeting, in this case, the natural target, which is the high of that range. We sit in the price action, and then we exit the trade just like that. So what have we really covered here?
You're telling me you're not exiting when that thing happens? Come on, dude. You're telling me you're not covering, especially when those two big red candles happen and you're waiting for that whole move? I think that's absolutely nonsense. I think that's bull crap. You're absolutely punching out after it rejects VWAP like that. That is crazy to me that he said wait for all this. No, you're absolutely punching out of that position after you're seeing VWAP getting rejected like that.
I understand this isn't a normal technical analysis video. You're not looking here and saying, oh, Jeff, you didn't teach us about patterns. You didn't teach us about this and that. What we talked about was the absolute psychology
My name is Jeff.
in the price action as it evolves. If you want to know patterns, we talked about a cheat sheet, technical analysis patterns that traders will use on the desk. They have rules around them. We didn't include the trades because the reality is you need to have a trade even when you have a pattern. A pattern in itself on our desk is not a trade. It's just a pattern. You still need a defined stop, and you need a defined entry criteria, and you need a defined target. And I understand that a lot of technical analysis does include those elements. But as we saw in this video, when you look at the actual price action, that's telling a story that the technical analysis sort of tends to skip over. And so you want to be thinking about not just what is the pattern that is unfolding, but how is that pattern unfolding? What are those individual pieces of information telling us, and how do we put those together in order to identify appropriate price action for us? When we can put those together, we're identifying what is happening, but then also what's potentially likely to happen next. And that can just put different trades on our radar. And once we have different trades on our radar based on our listening and our understanding of what is happening, we can put ourselves in those really high probability moments over and over and over.
There were some great trades talked in this video, guys. There were some beautiful setups and beautiful ideas talked about, but there were also some that I felt like were a little nonsensical, honestly. Like that ABCC whatever setup over there, that one felt a little nonsense to me. But overall, great video. Thank you SMB Capital for dropping amazing content every single time for options traders, for futures traders, for swing traders, for day traders, for prop traders. So no matter what level of a trader you are, beginner, intermediate, awesome content. I would suggest to go subscribe to them on their YouTube and go check them out on their website. They also have like a free seminar and stuff. Go check them out. But that's pretty much all she wrote for tonight. Nice 2 hours of predicting where the stocks will go, says Oso and Oso's friends in the Think with Bookmap Discord. Talking about Discord, go join my Discord, link in the description below. All the other fun stuff too, such as my Discord, my Instagram, my Twitter, my social media stuff, everything in the description below. My watch list, you'll get my watch list sent out to you in pre-market if you are a member on my Patreon. And my Patreon also gives a couple extra perks for those of you who choose to support me. My affiliate sponsors such as Benzinga, TraderSync, and Trade Ideas. Use code PRAD15 at checkout on TraderSync and Trade Ideas to get 15% off. Their links are also down below in the description. And you can also check me out on Cameo if you want to ask me to do some wacky stuff. Like, I don't know, break up with your girlfriend or something, or break up with your boyfriend, whatever it is that you want to do. Go check out my Cameo. You can ask me to do some wacky stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I'm going to do for tonight because I have to go do some chores and then I have to go eat my dinner. So I'll get that work done. I will wish you guys a wonderful night and an even better market session tomorrow. Keep in mind, Papa Powell goes on the microphone at 10 a.m. Be very careful as the markets could move pretty volatilely. I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. I will see you guys tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Until then, stay safe, good night, and thank you for always the continuous support, the continuous love, and everything that you guys do. Special shout out to today's sponsors for the stream. I guess by sponsor, I mean the people who supported it, which would be Ani with the $2 super chat, and all the subscribers that came in. I think we only had one new subscriber today, which was Day Traders. So thank you everybody. Once again, have a great night. Catch you guys on the next stream. Ciao.